Welcome to the Access Point. I'm your host, Alana Lockett, money in your pocket, fuel to your rocket, electric to your socket. And I am very excited about our show today. I've got a special guest with us who I worked with in Chicago at the National Bar Association. Because I worked with her, I was able to meet Ben Crump and Omarosa and Jesse Jackson and so many pivotal individuals and just powerful individuals because of this woman and the amazing work that she has done. So, with that being said, I would like to bring on Dr. Tanya Brown Wiley. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you.
You are quite welcome. And again, to your listeners and those who are chiming in, Alana is just a jewel and could not have made it through the National Bar Association Centennial Convention without her support and her help and her guidance and just her brilliance. So, again, Alana, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And that experience at the National Bar, their 100-year anniversary, their centennial celebration was really just a powerful, amazing event. You were instrumental in getting a number of people to this event. Tell us about the people that you helped bring into the event, and then we're going to backtrack and then tell our guest about exactly what you do and how you get it done.
Absolutely. So the roster was amazing. So I have been a member of the National Bar Association. Um, wow, it seems like just yesterday, but the way that I figure it out is my daughter was born in 2005, and I joined the National Bar Association in 2008. So I've been a member of the NBA since 2008, but I have been working with them even longer than that. Under the direction of the then president, Wiley Adams, he brought me in to assist with marketing and just the whole PR piece and helping the National Bar Association to secure certain speakers. And we put together a tech summit that was absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
And we had Judge Terry Wiley, who
Mhm.
was the co-chair of that summit. But yeah, you made mention of some key names like Ben Crump, who is a
Mhm.
staple in the National Bar Association. The president-elect James Carter. Um,
Mhm.
was also very prominent in a lot of the CLEs that we hosted. The other thing is, we this year we had former President Joe Biden,
Mhm.
who made an appearance and spoke at the gala. So the lineup was amazing.
It really was. It was a great lineup. We had Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was there. Um, you said Ben Joe Biden was there.
Yeah.
There was just Jasmine Crockett was there. There were just so many people. It was just really a who's who of the Black legal industry, and I definitely recommend students get involved. Go. There's a student membership you can join for free. If you haven't done that, definitely go to the National Bar Association and join. So,
Nationalbar.org. Make
nationalbar.org.
Make sure you do that, because again, you were there, and I mean, you are a witness. You can't pay for that kind of. You're in the room with so much wisdom and so
Mhm.
much knowledge, and that's something that you just it's priceless.
It is. It really is priceless. And then you get to see
Yeah,
like that this is a family and that folks
yeah,
come here every year. It's like a family reunion and you want to be involved in it. It just inspires you. And for students, it's an opportunity to be in the room with people who really want to help you. They
yeah,
really want to
yeah,
help you in your career and give the advice, which is part of the reason why we are doing the access point. And it's really about helping students who might not be able to take the time to go to the Bar Association events or to show up at the National Bar Association events. to give them an opportunity and introduce them to the movers and shakers in this industry. So that's what Access Point is about, and sharing the careers of experts and how they got into their careers. What was that access point for them? So, talk to us a little bit about what you do in your company and the work that you've done.
So, I am a legal business strategist, chief strategist working at the intersection of law and business, innovation, communications. And I work with and for attorneys all around the country. I advise law firms and attorneys, corporations, institutions on strategy, whether it's case development, trial preparation, crisis management, organizational growth. Certainly, again, PR is at the core of all of that. My work is centered on helping leaders shape their narrative,
Mm.
building winning strategies, and of course, creating sustainable systems that elevate the impact of these phenomenal leaders. So
Mhm.
that's the work that I do, and I absolutely love the work that I do. I am a serial entrepreneur. I also own a technology company, and we're developing a massive technology park right now, which is really exciting. And so again, and I love building teams,
Mhm.
watching people grow, and creating opportunities, particularly for young, brilliant minds. And so we have a team of professionals who are comprised of people that look like you and me in
Mhm.
our age range. Now I say our age range because I still want to, I don't want to admit that I'm north of 50. I still feel like I'm in my 30s.
I know that's right. Me too.
Right. There you go.
Me too. So
Yeah.
this is kind of an interesting career because you're not an attorney, but you still work very closely in the legal field. How did you come up with this idea? Like, what was this moment where you say, okay, this is a real industry where I can make a difference and make a living?
Well, I must admit I was on my way to law school. Um, I I worked for the United States Department of State and Law Enforcement and Intelligence doing research. Um, And from the time that since I could remember, I kept saying I wanted to be a lawyer. When I was a kid, that was my thing, right? I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a lawyer. And then I decided it was much more fun to tell lawyers what to do and they listen. Okay, so that's what
That's hard to do.
it's like, right. It is very difficult to do, but I say to people all the time, they say, how did you choose the work that you do? I really believe certainly nothing is by happenstance, and God places us where we need to be if we just trust Him. Now,
Mhm,
the one thing that I say all the time is, I come from the Baptist church now, so
mhm, mhm, mhm.
everything that I do, I'm going to make sure that I give credit right where credit
Right.
is due. I didn't choose my career path. I firmly believe that this path chose me.
Mhm,
And I
mhm,
believe that it's because of the Almighty that, it
mhm,
chose me. So I've always had a natural ability to solve complex problems, I think, right?
mhm,
And to
mhm,
bring order to chaos and to help people see the bigger picture, over time.
mhm,
And so that's what I do, and I do it well. And but it's not about me. It's about creating a team of individuals that, you impart wisdom into those individuals, and then you train them and teach them and help them to develop. And I say to the young folks who are on my team all the time, they say, "Oh, I want to be like you." I said, "No, you don't want to be like me. You want to be better than me."
mhm, mhm,
Right.
mhm,
And so
mhm,
I truly believe that it's the legal community gravitated toward my work because I bring strategic and human centered lens to the practice of law. And what I do is I exercise, the ability that I have to connect people, and I teach those who are on my team how to do the same thing. And so that has really become the foundation of my career.
Really? So, okay. I want to understand a little bit better about how you do what you do, right? Because it's almost like I've got a friend that has a business, and every time she explains it to me, I still have no idea what she does because it's just and I'm sure you get that too. People are like, I see you doing things, but what exactly? So like what does it actually look like, when you're working with attorneys? What is that like? We talked about working with them on mediation and case preparation. Like what does that look like, and what are you doing in that process?
Right. So since we've been on this call, as a for example, my text message is just blowing up, right? So it's an attorney saying, I've got a new one, I've got a good one, call me ASAP. Right.
Mhm,
So attorneys call me the minute they feel like they have a good case. I get
mhm,
on the horn with them. We walk and talk through just the logistics and specifics of the cases, the specifics first and then the logistics, right? So they give me almost a sort of an overview or summary of the case. Then we get on the horn with the client or the potential client.
mhm,
And it's and we have attorneys on our team, so it's not just me. I mean, I'd like to be able to take all the credit, but it's not. It's initially it was just me. It
mhm.
was I pick up the phone and I answer, you know, and change my voice, and then come back on the phone, and all of a sudden I'm now me.
Let me get the manager.
That's right. That's the way it was initially, but it's called take lemon and make lemonade, right? Take lemons
Mhm,
and make lemonade, and that's what I've learned how to do. And so I've taken that, trained individuals to do the same thing that I do, and we serve as that foundation for attorneys. We help them to assess their cases, to determine whether or not they're cases that they should even take in the first place. Right.
mhm,
And that saves a lot of time, money, and energy, right?
mhm,
Because if
mhm.
you take a case as a lawyer, law school students who are listening in, hear me loud and clear. If you accept a case and it's a bad case, and there will be some of those kinds of situations, right? But
Mhm,
if you take a case, it's a bad case, you can spend a whole lot of time and a
mhm,
whole lot of money. And certainly as a new lawyer, that is what you do not want to do.
mhm,
Is
mhm,
take a case that's a bad case. So we help with assessing those cases. We provide, a written document saying, okay, this is why we believe you should not take the case, or this is why we believe it is a great case for you to take on. And then we proceed to help them work through the case. We work it from beginning to end. We interview the clients. If it's a personal injury case, as a for example, we will work with the clients. We conduct interviews in person, over Zoom. Zoom created
mhm,
a wonderful situation, right? Because now we're able to assess cases without being face to face. We
mhm.
get those wonderful snapshots, the recordings. We take those and then we use those to put together day in the life and settlement videos. So we help attorneys to get their cases either through settlement or to trial. And if they go to trial, we're right there in the courtroom helping them with jury selection. So, voir dire, we help them
Okay,
with
okay.
that.
So
Okay.
you are in the thick of it, in the middle
And
of all of the
all
things.
of it.
Now, let me ask you this. I know that there are some cases where attorneys might have a case and they say, "Well, this could we need we need PR on this, right? Like we
Mhm,
need to build some public opinion about what's going on, especially when we talk about like civil rights cases and when people were
mhm,
really wronged." Do you help work on that as well, like getting that PR to make sure that their cases are getting the being acknowledged on the in the public?
absolutely. That's how we started, as a matter of fact.
Mm,
That's how we started our business. My major, when I went to school, was English and political science, and I minored in mass communication. So I had
mm.
a double major and a minor, and I got out in 4 years. Okay.
Come
so,
on now.
so let me tell you, students, you can do it. If I can do it, little on me, you can definitely do it. But yes, the PR piece is huge. The $23.6 billion, that's B as in boy, verdict that Mr. Willie Gary was able to obtain in a single tobacco case. All of the PR that you saw on that particular case, we managed that entire process.
Wow.
The other thing is there's also, strategic PR for lawyers. Um, when you take on a case, and if you already know it's a bad case, it may be a criminal case, right?
Mhm, mhm,
There's a way to control the narrative. And I
mhm,
tell people all the time, if you don't write your story, someone else will write it for you.
mhm,
But what happens when the story is already written and then you got to do damage control? You don't
mhm.
want to try to do that by yourself. You want to have
Right.
individuals at the forefront of that who know what they're doing. And our team of professionals know what they're doing when it comes to the PR side.
That's really great because attorneys know how to lawyer, but they don't know how to PR, right?
That's
Like
right.
PR and marketing, that's a whole different industry. Like, how do you find the person that can get it out there? What do you tell them to make them interested? And so that's very valuable. I know you've mentioned B. Ivory to me before, and he was also in Chicago, and he's worked on a really big case. Did you help him out with that as well?
Which one? We've worked
The
on.
OMG girls.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
tell us a little bit about that as much as you can, because I know I'm not sure if they're still in litigation or what's
We
going on there.
we are still in litigation on that case, and that's an intellectual property case. That's an IP case. So again, we got you have the personal injury, you have the criminal, you have intellectual property. It's like people think about that and they say, "Well, what kind of PR?" Well, this is it.
Mm,
You have, and it's public knowledge, so I'm not sharing anything that anyone would not be able to Google. Uh,
mhm, mhm,
MGA Entertainment, they have dolls, and I'm sure everyone has seen the OMG dolls. And so there were several of those dolls that were even the name and
mhm. And these
likeness.
are the dolls that T.I. and Tiny put, like, they did this?
Well, it's their daughter, but
Oh,
yes, yes.
okay, okay. I don't know all the details. I'm coming to you for the deets.
Yes, 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 yes. So again, I share as much as I can, but you can Google it. But the OMG case, MGA Entertainment, we worked on that case and were able to successfully make it through to the end. But of course, with any case, they go and they appeal it, and
Mhm,
so
mhm, mhm.
sometimes you feel like you're going to be in trial and back and forth until Jesus comes, but you just continue forward, right?
Like, it has to have an end,
That's
once you
what
get
we
to the
do.
end, it's the end.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. Well, I've enjoyed you so much. I know you also have a big trip coming up next week. You're
Right.
going
I
to
leave
Ghana.
I leave on Tuesday. Yes, to go to Ghana.
Oh,
Yes.
that's exciting. My mom always wanted to go to Africa. It's on her bucket list, and she is an avid traveler. My mom is like, no reservations, just shows up,
That's right.
backpacker, traveling by herself. You call her one day, she's in one country, and she's in another
I
country.
love
So
it.
she definitely wants to get to Africa, and so I have already told you that I want to see your pictures. So
Yes.
make
Yes.
sure you share that with me. I can't wait to see that. While we have her on here, I'm going to actually go ahead and bring on attorney Bernice Stafford-Turner to join with us really quick. I know you've got to go, but there she is. Hey.
All right.
Hello, hello, my sister. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Actually, I'm in the Chesterfield Library. I was in the middle of doing my other job, being a flower lady. But I've been practicing law about almost 35 years now. How long has it been, Precious?
And
Alana, how long?
I was 9 years old, and I'm not gonna give away my age, but it's been a good little while.
Oh,
It's been a
okay.
good little while. So, and it's interesting because um I actually watched my mom go to law school when I was 4 years old. And so, seeing someone and having a role model, right? Somebody that looks like you, do something that other people said was impossible.
Mm.
And even when I tell people now about me, this is probably like my fifth career going back to law school. People are kind of astonished. But the only reason I'm able to do this is because I saw someone else do it. And so, again, why this series is so important is that representation really does matter. And being able to see yourself in someone who is able to achieve something that seems almost impossible is really powerful. I know you have a lot to do today, but I wanted you to at least meet each other. But I know you've got to get ready to go, Dr. Tanya. So we're going to let you go. But thank you so much for joining me today.
Okay, before you leave, tell me a little bit about your Africa trip because I heard Precious tell you that I definitely want to go. Is it too late for me to come now?
Listen,
I will cancel my court hearings.
I promise you there will be more trips to Africa. So we'll have that conversation offline. I was in Ethiopia. Gosh, it's been maybe 3 years, I guess it was, when I was in Ethiopia. So I'm excited to go back to the continent. So I'll be going on Tuesday. I'm only going to be there for 5 days, but I'm just excited about what that is going to bring back to those of us who are here in the
Well,
states. Yeah.
at some point, I took off 30 days. I think it was 1991 or 92. I took off and I spent 30 days in Europe all by myself. And I
Oh,
went
wow.
to 10 different countries. But I really do want to go to Africa. Yeah.
We'll make that happen. We'll have that
Okay.
conversation
All
offline.
right.
Thank you
Awesome.
Sounds
so
great.
much for having me, Precious. I appreciate you. I love you. And I look forward to coming back on and we can have some more
Yes.
conversation about some of
Yes.
the other wonderful things that are happening. You know,
Yeah. And maybe we can even get B. Ivory or Ben Crumble come on and hang out with us. That'd be great.
absolutely. We can make now. B. Ivory is a phone call away. Ben is a phone call away. We just have to kind of work inside of their schedules because I think
Absolutely.
they're
We can be
both probably
flexible.
on a flight right now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Have a great day.
All right. You too.
It's nice meeting you.
All right. Now we've got attorney Bernie Stafford-Turner with us, and I'm so excited to share this story because it's got so many twists and turns and just really interesting. Um, just it's just an amazing journey. So I'm gonna call you Miss Stafford Turner. I'm gonna call you Miss Turner.
Yes, yes,
So,
ma'am.
Miss Turner, tell me about where you grew up and like how did you grow up?
Well, I was born in the 50s, and I was born at a time where it was segregation. And, it just, I think of so many stories of, what I went through being a Negro in the 50s, with everything being segregated. And I was one of the first um, students to test the 1964 Civil Rights Bill. So I was one of the first students to go to an all-white junior high school in Richmond, Virginia. It was called Benford Junior High School. And there were some challenges there in terms of, being five colored kids in an all-white junior high school. And the way I got to go to Benford was Senator Henry Marsh came to my elementary school to talk to my principal, and he said, "Do you have any students? We'd like to test the Civil Rights Bill. Do you have any students that would fare well, make good grades, and would do well in an all-white situation?" So I was one of five colored kids chosen to test the 1964 Civil Rights Bill, and I went to Benford Junior High School in Richmond, Virginia. And believe it or not, if you know anything about Richmond, Virginia, there were two sides of the tracks. One was it was Main Street. If you crossed the right side of the track, you were in a all white neighborhood, and then you crossed the other side, you were in a black neighborhood. So invariably, a parent would have to pick us up and take us back and forth. And I got lots of stories and experiences, so we can talk deeper into that. But you want to find out more about my law school, or
Well, just about well, the idea is to find out like what things happened when you were young that prepared you for your career. Like what was that foundation of who you are that made this amazing formidable force that is Bernie Stafford Turner?
well, I can remember in Richmond, the Richmond Times Dispatch, the paper separated the jobs for the colored people and the jobs for the white people. And I remember telling my father, "Oh, I don't want a job. I don't want a job that says." He would say, "You have to look in the employment column and find a double line, and the double line above the double line will be all the employment for white people, and then below the double line would be the employment for the colored people." And I would look and I would say, "I don't want to be a maid. Find me another job." So he would tell me, "You got to get educated," and that was dwelled into me to get educated. Um, and it was just some of those experiences with my father and my mother instilling upon me the importance of education. And I had a big sister that also instilled in me the importance of education. Um,
So you went
so
off to
I
college. You did go off to college, and where'd you go to college?
well, I had 5 full scholarships, but I fell in love, and I at some point decided I just wanted to get married and have a family. Um, but I went to Virginia State, and I graduated from Virginia State, and I got the nickname Triple B because while I was there, I had a baby. I had a bubbling baby boy, and I got the nickname Triple B. Bernice, babies, in the books while I was at Virginia State. And I was determined because I had a full scholarship, determined to complete Virginia State. So when I graduated, my son Antonio, I had him by the hand and we went up to get the diploma together.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And so you didn't go directly from uh college to law school. What happened in that period between college and law school?
Well, there are a lot of stories in between college and law school, but at the age of 40, with 3 children and a single mother, I had an encounter with the Richmond Police Department that made me know without a shadow of a doubt that I needed to study my constitutional rights. So at some point, I really wanted to be a constitutional lawyer. And it was really tough getting into law school because I had been out of college for 15 years. And during those 15 years, I taught special education in the Richmond Public Schools for 5 years. And, and then I went on to embark into a business, becoming a flower lady, selling flowers on the street. And in 1991, the Richmond Times Dispatch carried a front page story. Can you believe this color girl on the front page of the newspaper now? Flower lady turned lawyer, from street corner to courtroom. But law school was really a challenge for me because being out of college that long and teaching special education, where I was teaching elementary students how to write their name and how to add, how to subtract, and I had to give myself a spelling test every day. I would get the class prosecutor. Does the S come before the E? So I had to really study English all over again. And it was a
Mm.
challenge, but I made it through.
Yeah, you did. You
Yes.
did. You made it through. So it's interesting how you went from reading the jobs for colored people under the double line in the Richmond Times Dispatch to now being on the front page of the Richmond Times Dispatch. And how long did you sell flowers? And did you continue selling flowers after law school, or did you decide, oh, you were
Well,
done with that?
selling flowers was an integral part because I had 3 children. So, and I had the full responsibility financially to take care of my 3 children, including you. And I had a support team. My mother um, got there and pulled in and stuck by me and, you know, was there for me. And then I had Miss Habibullah. And that was probably my support team was my mother and a friend, a family friend. I would tell Miss Habibullah, thank you so much because, you know, she's, oh, and there was Miss Alice too.
Mhm, mhm.
Because at some point I had a house and Miss Alice came to stay at the house with you and Antonio, and then Hakeem went to stay with Miss Habibullah. So it was a challenge, and I came home every weekend. And to make me ends meet, I had to sell flowers to pay my rent in my apartment in DC and paid a house note at the house where you all stayed and to travel back and forth
Mhm.
up and down 95 to get home. And
So you
sometimes I
were
even came
driving
home.
from DC during the week, and then driving from DC during the week, and then coming home on the weekends, selling flowers till like 2 o'clock in the morning. And then, like, I remember you would come and get us and take us to Waffle House. It'd be like 4 o'clock in the morning to go to Waffle House. And those were the times that I remember that it was kind of really the only time that we had to spend with you was at the Waffle House, eating waffles after you finished selling flowers.
Well, it was really a challenge because the man in my life at the time said, you got too many children. You're too old. But I was determined. I was determined. And you remember that YouTube video we did with me telling my story?
Hmm.
So if you put in Bernice Stafford-Turner in the word determination, you'll get my story in 3 minutes. I was
Yeah.
doing it for Les Brown.
Yeah.
And that just brings up another adventure that we all had.
Yes.
We went on a
Yes.
road
That
trip.
was a
Yeah.
wild time. This is my days when I did stand-up comedy, and I did like a 2-week comedy tour. I think we were on the road for like a week or two, and we got in this conversion van. And I don't know what we were thinking because we did not plan it out the great. Like, you left your wallet at home with all the credit cards and all the money in there. And I think I had $14 the day before we left, and I convinced somebody to give me some money. And the tire blew out.
Yeah, I remember
The
that.
tire
I
blew
rode on the
out. The
tire for like
rotors
10
were
miles.
bad. Like, we were just.
But then you came to that event. It was called the Les Brown Maximum Achievement Team,
Hmm.
and I was going to become a Les Brown participant, and you and your cameraman took over and took pictures. Do you remember
Yes.
that?
Yes. Yes. I remember we came and we interviewed people coming out of the conference because it was a conference for speakers who wanted to learn how to maximize their potential. And so we were interviewing people about what they had done, and then we sold the footage back to Les Brown. And a crazy story is when they asked us who we write the check out to, I wanted to sound professional. So I didn't let them write the check out to me, but I needed the money so bad. Like, I probably should have let them write the check out to me, but we were trying to look like we were really professionals and we were really doing it. And so they wrote the check out to a business that I had not even started. So I had to go and start a business so I could cash the check.
Wow.
So yeah, that was an interesting trip that we took together. But also, I really kind of want to talk a little bit about what. Can we talk a little bit about what that encounter was that made you decide you wanted to go to law? Because that's such a big deal to say, okay, I'm going to completely change my life and my lifestyle, and I've got these kids, and I want more power.
Well, I really wanted to, when I first got started, I really just wanted to study law. And then I realized there was such a need for my services. And I went to Antioch School of Law, which was a phenomenal law school. We actually had 10 legal clinics, and because we were located in Washington, D.C., and I don't know if, Precious, can you tell them about Antioch, or you want me to?
Well, what I do know about Antioch is that it is now part of David Clark Law School, which is UDC. So they've since kind of changed the name. But I just remember you had that one room apartment in DC. I was so young. I mean, I was only like 4 or 5 years old, but I do remember coming to your classes. I remember coming to your classes, and I remember sitting in the hallway of the law school, and there was a little girl whose mother was also in law school, and she and I would play in the hallway until you all finished your classes. Do you remember that?
Yeah, well, law school was a real challenge for me, but I enjoyed it, and I got to meet so many people.
You told me
But
that they made you be homeless for 30 days. What was that about?
well, Antioch was such a unique program. They wanted all of the students to feel the plight of the clients. And the way the law school was set up, it was Edgar Kahn and Jean Kahn. They had graduated from Yale Law School, and they wanted to put together a program to help indigent people of the District of Columbia with their legal matters. So we actually had 10 legal clinics, and I was actually representing the client my very first year in federal court. And I know I've told you this before, but whenever you file a motion in federal court, you are also supposed to file a memorandum of law giving your position on the motion. Um, so, what else were you asking me about
So
Antioch?
wait a minute, tell me about this memorandum of law. So what happened in that case? What ended up happening?
Well, the case that I had in law school was a young mother was charged with getting food stamps and having a job.
Mm,
So she was charged criminally. And,
mm,
and the clinic I was in was called public entitlements, which
mm,
means that if you got welfare or you got some benefits and then they terminated them, but she was charged criminally. And I remember telling the judge about my story, how tough it was and how hard it is. And I think she had 3 children. And anyway, I got the judge to take it under advisement because she was actually trying to go to nursing school. And if she had gotten
mm,
convicted, then she would not have been able to complete her career.
mm.
But, you know, I have so many great memories from Antioch Law School. And I would tell anybody that's listening to this, if you graduated from Antioch Law School, get in touch with me because I actually went to the Virgin Islands and I said, I'm going to find somebody that graduated from a law school. And so I Googled Virgin Islands, Antioch School of Law, and there was a judge that responded and said, I'm in court, but I'm going to come and have lunch with you. Yeah. And I
Oh,
think,
wow.
all the graduates of Antioch were very close. Even to this day, we still communicate.
So what was your tell me about one of your first cases out of law school and some of the challenges that you overcame as far as being a Black woman who was really not like you were kind of born into poverty. Like you weren't your family wasn't well off. You didn't have a lot of people in the family that were could really help you go or get to where you wanted to be. You really kind of built this on your own. So how did you overcome some of the maybe imposter syndrome that comes with that?
Well, I've been in private practice my entire career. The day I graduated from law school and I passed the bar exam, I knew I wanted to be in private practice. I wanted to help people. And on Saturdays, I'd have a legal clinic where people could come in and talk to me. And sometimes I still do that at no charge if you have a legal issue. Um, and I was real fortunate to get the phone number 804-218-4357, which spells the word help, 804-218-HELP. And invariably, I would have a full Saturday afternoon with people getting a free legal consultation
Mhm.
because I realized that lawyers are expensive, you know, and people really can't afford an attorney. But sometimes you just need to ask a question.
Mm.
So, what were you asking me about
I
the
was
first?
asking you about some of maybe one of your first cases. There was a case you told me about where you had to call the judge on Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow. I don't think I would do that now, but when I was selling flowers, there was always someone, the cab drivers would come and pull up in front of the tobacco company where I sold flowers at. And one of the cab drivers' wife called me and said that James had got locked up. It was Christmas Eve, and, you know, he had 5 children, and we wanted him home for Christmas. So anyway, I told him, I said, well, let me call the magistrate and see what I can do. So I called the magistrate. And I told him my name and I was telling him I'm a new attorney. He said, "Ma'am, they 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 hired me to set bonds, not reduce bonds." So I said, "Well, the only person I think I can help is the judge." So I got through the phone book and I called a Henrico County judge at home. And I remember calling and asking him, "Can I speak to the judge?" And his wife said, "I can't believe these lawyers call me on Christmas Eve." So when I got to the judge got to the phone, I said, My name is Bernice Stafford-Turner. Most people know me as the Flower Lady. He says, "Oh, I read that article. I can't wait for you to come to my courtroom to meet you." So anyway, I told him that the story about being the flower lady on the street and how I met all the cab drivers. But this particular cab driver had gotten into an argument at the airport and got arrested and was in Henrico jail, and he had 5 children. So he said, "Well, how much do you think they could pay?" So the judge told me to call the magistrate back and tell him for the magistrate to call the judge. And this was
Wow.
Christmas Eve, and we actually got the client out on Christmas Eve.
Wow.
Now, grant you, November of 1990 was my very first year of practice, and this was December
Wow.
that I actually got a client out of jail. I didn't know you remember that case.
I do. I do. I remember everything you tell me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you
Yeah,
remember the
that is
time I was?
wild. What gave you the audacity to call a judge at home?
I was thinking I need a solution. And I'm always solution oriented, and I'm creative, so I was thinking, so when the magistrate said, "Ma'am, I'm in the business of setting bonds. They hired me to set bonds. They don't hire me to reduce bonds." And then he said the only person that could even change a bond would be a judge. So I
Did you
did.
know that from law school, or is that he was teaching you something in that
He was
moment?
teaching me something. I really didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how much you don't know coming out of law school.
Yeah, but I think that's why you need a mentor. I would encourage everybody to be a mentor. As a matter of fact, I volunteered at Legal Aid, um, and I got to experience. But then again, being at Antioch, we had those 10 legal clinics. We had a bankruptcy clinic, a criminal clinic, a landlord tenant clinic, a public entitlements clinic, and I think they also had a tax clinic.
Mhm, mhm.
So and we rotated. And also, I think my education was so valuable because we even had file maintenance where we had to learn how to set up our client's file and how to
Mm,
write the notes in the files. Yes.
mm. Interesting,
Well,
interesting.
anyway, I think the library might shut us off. So,
Okay, well, I was gonna tell you, like, I feel like we need to do this again because
well,
there's
maybe
a
we can do a pre-recorded segment because I'm always
this is
in
actually
court.
pre-recorded. We're pre-recording right now. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay. So
so
you can cut
we
it
have
and
to do this again.
all anytime you want to.
Okay, because there's so much stuff that you have to share. Like there's I oh, we lost her. Anyway, this has been the Access Point. I really appreciate you guys for being patient with us. This is our first show. We're still working out some of the technical issues. But as you can see, the attorneys and Dr. Tanya that we have today, they really have a wealth of knowledge, and I'm looking forward to bringing you more interesting folks. I think next week we have a tech guru, a tech entrepreneur, as well as the president for the California Association of Black Lawyers. So I am very much looking forward to all the great discussions that we're going to have. If you have any questions about the particular lawyers that we've had on or guests that we've had on, or you want to hear from someone in particular, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Make sure you go and follow me on Instagram at Extra Precious. And I really look forward to seeing you. Have a great day. Bye.